Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 417. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Wearing many hats and overcoming setbacks is nothing new to this hybrid entrepreneur, real estate investor, coach, and employee of the Department of Homeland Security. Welcome, Eudiana Burrell.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Richards. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. Thank you.
You are welcome. I've given our audience such a brief bio.
Okay.
Fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business.
Well, right now we are presently investing in real estate throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, and now in Virginia. We help families out of foreclosure. We help other families who may not necessarily qualify for a traditional loan. We're able to lease option, give them those types of alternatives into buying a home. We get to help people all over with solving solutions for them, coming up with creative financing ways of possibly selling and or buying. And so right now that's been our niche and pre-foreclosures, and absolutely love it because we get to do this work every day, not only helping sellers and buyers, but also helping communities. We're bringing back value to communities by taking a home that has been deteriorating it and then fixing it up and possibly selling it to a first-time home buyer or someone who just needs somewhere to rent. So we believe what we're doing is helping communities all the way around.
How did you get into real estate investing?
Oh, my goodness. So I have always been interested in getting involved with real estate. I think in 2014, a friend of mine and I were talking about the homeless crisis in Charlotte. And we said, well, if we get involved with real estate, we can help this one, we can help that one. We just wanted to help everyone. And so that's where the passion came from. We weren't exactly able to fulfill that dream at that time because every time we tried to get in, it felt like we were getting just enough information, but not enough to gain any traction. I leaned back onto my job. Then around in 2020 of March, my home flooded, the world shut down, and my job stopped. And I got a little depressed, and I knew immediately depression doesn't fit me and I've got to do something. And what I learned in that time is people need something to love, they need something to hope for, and they need something to do. And real estate gave me all three. I got involved with Connected Investors, which is a platform I use to find all of my deals. And once I did that, I started learning the software. I found a mentor who had been doing it a year prior to me. And I was so motivated, Dr. Richards. I was going to Dollar Tree, buying these big poster boards, cutting them up in postcard size and writing to sellers every day. I would do this for hours. I would give up that 2-hour movie or going out shopping with my girlfriends and write. And about 2 months in, it started gaining traction. And I closed on my very first 3 deals in August of 2020. What that showed me and what I recognized, I was no longer going to allow anyone to dictate my money, how much I made, and when I made it. And we haven't stopped since. Since then, I brought on 2 of my daughters who handle all of our marketing. As a matter of fact, this week we're bringing on 2 more people. The business has continued to grow, expand, and we've been able to continue to scale.
And that's interesting when you talk about real estate interest rate in inflation right now. Is it good to invest in real estate?
Absolutely. My mindset is people will always need somewhere to live. And so it doesn't matter to me about the interest rates because at some point they will come back down and then you can refinance. what it is I do is a lot of wholesaling. We do some buy and hold. We do subject to, where we take over someone's loan who is in foreclosure, and we're able to get those properties at the interest rates they have, like a 3.41 or a 2.85, as opposed to going out traditionally and buying at what the interest rates are right now. I don't worry about the interest rates because it's always the right time to buy. Now, do I want to buy every property at retail? Absolutely not. I do want to find motivated sellers who are willing to sell at a discount. And so it might be a property that's in disrepair, or a couple that has several properties and they can't keep up with the taxes and they no longer want to deal with the upkeep. And so those are the types of properties we look for.
And are you actually a real estate agent?
No. I'm sorry.
No, go on, take over.
No, I am an investor. I'm a real estate investor. And so that gives me a lot more wiggle room. I am not bound by any laws insofar as certain disclosures that I have to put out. I'm an investor. I buy and sell. And so I am out here, I'm filling in the gap, trying to help people who don't believe they can sell traditionally, who don't want to deal with a realtor, don't want to deal with the fees, because whenever we're dealing with a seller, there are no fees out of pocket. There are no repairs for them to make. We close on their timeline. And so there are a lot of advantages to working with a real estate investor.
What is something as African Americans that we don't know about being a real estate investor that we should know?
As an African American, I think it's important for not only an African American, but a woman as well. We don't have to be defined by our race, our gender, our age, and that this is open and available to us all. And if you have an open mind and the willingness to want to learn something new, all you have to do is find the right resources. And it's available. Those resources are out there. You just have to look for them. The one thing about real estate that we do know is it has created more wealth than any other vehicle in the world. Another thing is we have to find the right resources, and that's platforms in which you find your properties or deals or things like that. And then you have to become the right you. That means you have to begin to align your routines with your goals. Whatever it is your dreams are, those routines now have to match and align with your goals. And so that means you may have to give up some things. You have to be willing to give up some old habits in order to create some new ones that are going to take you in the direction of your dream. And it absolutely is doable, because I am a living testament. I'm doing this thing every single day, and I get to do this. It's not I have to do this. I get to do this.
How did you raise the money to buy your first property?
There was no money to be raised. That is the beauty of investing. That's another part of investing. There's very little capital needed to do what it is I started doing, which was wholesaling. And what I do is I put a property under contract for this amount. Let's say for the purposes of today, $100,000, and I then sell that contract for $120,000. And the difference is that $20,000. As I've made that money and been able to build capital, now I can begin to buy other assets that will give me a return on my investment. So, the misnomer is that we need all this money to get involved with real estate, when in fact you don't.
Someone's listening, Dana, and they're like, it sounds too easy. How did you acquire the knowledge to start doing real estate investing?
Well, let me just say, it's very simple. It's not always easy, but it is very simple. Just the mere desire. I believe when we have a desire and we open ourselves up to different things that might help us, we start doing the research. Those things will begin to reveal themselves to you. And that's what happened for me. Only because, and you get on your phone, you get on your laptop, you're looking stuff up, different ads will come up, different information will begin to come to you, and you have to do what resonates for you. For me, it was connecting investors. I started seeing a lot of ads about connecting investors, and I did a bit more research. After doing the research and finding that it resonated with me, it was a no-brainer. I jumped in. And as a result, there have been so many more opportunities that have opened up to me. One being last year, I won Connected Investor of the Year, all because of me being curious, having a desire, making a decision, and following through.
You talked about the three areas that you actually invest in, I believe,
Yes.
North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Why those three states?
Well, I live in North Carolina, and I wanted to know my own backyard. I don't have a real estate background. And so I needed to know all of what was happening in my state, how I could help the people where I lived, again, right in my backyard. And so it was important that I start home first and then branch out. And because of that, it's allowed me to build up my confidence, allowed me to build the knowledge that I have today, the network. Oh my gosh, that is invaluable. That in itself has brought on other relationships, deals, transactions, getting to network with the people in my own community.
I wanted to step back and congratulate you on your award. I don't want to just gloss over that. That is phenomenal. Tell me about that moment when you received that award.
Gosh, I can't even explain it. Words don't even give it justice because, again, I didn't have a real estate background. Here I am, this woman working for the Department of Homeland who decided to get into real estate and make a go of it. It was a phenomenal moment. They invited me up to Wilmington to their headquarters. I got to meet with the CEO, Ross Hamilton, and his team. And as a result, moving forward, I'm working on something with Ross. I can't reveal it just yet, but it's opened up so many doors. And so, yeah, I was absolutely elated, grateful for the opportunity, because not only was this about me, it was also opening the door and showing other people who look like me that it's possible. It's possible for them. And even if, they don't look like me, someone, an everyday average American going out to work, a law-abiding citizen, can make these same dreams a reality for themselves.
Talk to the person in the audience and they're interested in connecting with you and learning more. Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is one that is teachable, who knows they need help and wants help and is willing to reach out for it. And that's with coaching. As far as someone who's looking to sell a home, we're here to help. We want to bring value back to the seller. We want to bring value to the community. And we also want to bring value to ourselves. And so I say that to say this, we are a for-profit business because we can only continue to do what we love doing by making the money necessary to be able to help more and more and more people.
And coaching, talk more about your coaching business.
So right now, I work as a coach for Connected Investors. And so if this is something you'd be interested in, of course, you'd have to be a member of Connected Investors to have me as a coach. Yeah, so that's where I coach. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And if they're interested in connecting, how do they connect to Connecting Investors?
Connected Investors, they can go through a link I could provide to you today, if that's okay. And they can connect with me through that. Also, I'm on social media, Eudiana Burrell. You can find me there. And TikTok, I believe. I have someone else who handles all of my social media accounts. So I hope I'm getting all the names right. So, yes.
And what we'll do is we'll get all her handles and put it in the show notes so she doesn't have to remember them all. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. They've impacted your life so much. Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
The person that impacted my life the most, Bessie Mae Green. Grandma, I want to thank you for always believing in me, for always being there, for being like a rock when I needed you to be, for never giving up on me. For that, I am eternally grateful. You saw things in me that no one else did. You believed in me when nobody else did. And I love you for that. I have always loved you. You always made me feel safe. You always made me feel like I belonged. And I thank you. I love you and I miss you.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Dana, there are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or business that dominates that you admire and why.
I can't speak enough about connected investors because it gives the everyday average person the opportunity to step into real estate without all the fees and so much money having to go into it. The platform is a one-stop shop. It truly is. You can find all of your leads in there, sellers, buyers. You get to set up a website through there. And then there's a community within a community to support you as well. Coaching, other apps like direct mail, contracts, you name it. Again, it's a one-stop shop. I cannot speak more highly about connected investors. And probably because I got my start and I had seen so many other people do the same thing, some older, some younger, men, women, white, Black, Asian, Indian, you name it. It's connected investors for me.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger you?
It's okay. You're going to mess up, Dana, but you're going to get back up again and you can win. You can do anything you set your mind on. All you have to do is believe. You've got this. Just trust the process and let it unfold because everything is really going to turn out in your favor.
Who are your top two mentors or influencers, and what lessons did they teach you?
Top two mentors and influencers. Ross Hamilton, the CEO of Connected Investors. When I started with Connect Investors, I felt like he was standing right over my shoulder. He didn't even know he was my mentor at the time. But I could hear him say, what would $5,000 do for you and your family? What would $10,000 do for you and your family? You have to have the fortitude to push forward. If this is what you want, you can absolutely have it. And so he taught me I didn't have to have a lot of money to get involved with Connected Investors. All I had to have was a desire and consistency and the fortitude to push forward through any challenge. Second one was my actual mentor who walked me through to the closing table, Kendall Sellers, with real estate investing a year prior to me, but he was closing on deals. And he was the first person who was willing to really help me. He said, Dana, I'll help you and I'll walk you to the closing table. And he did just that. As we got to each step, the next one would reveal itself. He would walk me through. And then the next one and the next one. Literally, he walked me to the closing table. I can't thank you enough, Kendall. I love you.
And that's huge because we get involved into so many different things and people say, I'm going to help you, and they disappear and vanish.
That is so true. And the beauty is we are still connected. We're actually working on a deal we're closing on this week. I am so and he's like 20 something years younger than I am, but he's like my little brother. I love him immensely. And he was the first one to say, yes, I'll help you. And everybody else before then, like I talked about earlier, it was like they gave you just enough, but not enough to gain any traction. And then you didn't hear from them unless they were asking for money or you'll have to pay this or you'll have to pay that. That's not what Kendall did.
That's huge. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
What problem exists in the world today, Dana, that you'd like to solve?
Homelessness. It's heart-wrenching to watch a child out on the street with their parent and, feel us being the onlookers, if you have any compassion for people and feeling a sense of helplessness yourself. We want to help all people. So yeah, I myself have been through homelessness with 3 children. So I know what that feels like. And I have such a strong desire to want to help out in that area. And as quiet as it's kept, I am about to have that opportunity be fulfilled. That's something I was talking to you that I'm working on with Ross Hamilton. And so that is going to be a dream fulfilled to be able to help in this way.
When you talk about your story of being homeless with 3 children, that's very powerful.
Mhm.
And someone's listening, what advice would you give them? They may be homeless. They may be on the verge of homelessness. They may be feeling helpless. They may be a paycheck away from homelessness. What advice would you give to that person?
I would say seek resources. Let people know you need help. There is a community of people that will help you, that want to help. Don't give up. Don't give up, because I don't believe it's even in our natures to really want to give up. Each one of us wants to keep reaching for more, for better, because we know deep down inside we deserve that. And so reach out for help. Ask for the help because it is there for you. I know for me, when it happened for us, it was a conscious decision that I made to go into a homeless shelter. It was right after 911. And I needed to know that if I fell, I could get back up on my own again. And it was one of the most humbling, most beautiful experiences we'd ever been through. In that time, I learned that your children, all they want is you. All they want is you, your attention, your time, your energy. And we got to have that. I saw them in a different light. They got to see me in a different light, a bit more vulnerable than normal, but it drew us closer together. And the people who were there to help did an enormously wonderful job helping us and getting the resources we need to eventually get on our feet again.
The conversation is around an attitude of gratitude, which I can hear in your voice. I want you to have a thank fest. I want you to thank people and situations that have really impacted your life. Have at it.
I want to thank you, Mom and Dad, especially you, Mom, for never giving up on me, for always believing that I can get my life together. I want to thank you, Dad, for being there for my children, for being the strong male figure in their lives. I want to thank my community of family and friends who helped to support, uplift, and assist me with raising my children. I want to thank you, Grandma, for giving me all of the love and the passions that I have today, for always continuing to push forward. I want to thank you, Kendall, for your time, your energy, your effort, your pouring into me and believing in me as a real estate investor. I want to thank my community of real estate investors who continue to pour into me, who continue to help and assist me in the evolution of this process of real estate investing. I want to thank my children, who two of which who work with me now, for getting involved, for saying, yes, Mom, I want to learn this too, and possibly changing the entire trajectory of our family. I want to thank my grandsons who have come into my life to teach me more about all of the wonderful attributes that I've been endowed with, to be able to continue to grow on them. Love and patience and kindness. I know I'm not mentioning everybody, but I want to thank everyone that I connect with, even if it's for a moment in time, allowing me to be in their space and open up to me with a small conversation. I'm grateful for all of it because it has grown me in such a way I could have never imagined. And Dr. Richards, I want to thank you for having me on your show. 25 years ago, I couldn't imagine that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing today. So thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful. How do you make impact daily?
By showing up, by doing this, by connecting, by reflecting who we truly are, by giving compassion, patience, kindness, by recognizing myself in the other individual, even when I'm dealing with a challenging person, which I love, because I get to reflect back who I truly am to them, which then helps them to reflect back to me who they are. If that makes any sense, and I hope that hits homes for a few people, because God made it so simple for us to see ourselves in the other. None of us are above the other. each one of us is capable of all the same acts. And if we can recognize that, it's that much easier to then have compassion for the person who is struggling with anger or any other thing that we would deem as not suitable. So, and I know I'm going somewhere else, but yeah, I show up. I show up and I open my mind and my heart to people every day.
Is there a nonprofit connected to your business, or is there a nonprofit that you support?
Yes.
Okay.
Saving homes.
Tell us more.
I cannot reveal all of it just yet because it is still in the development phases,
Okay.
but it will be opening up soon. And possibly I can share that with you, Dr. Richards, at a later date if I may. But yes, saving homes is it. Yeah.
When it's all said and done, let's talk about legacy. Dana, how do you want to be remembered?
Legacy, again, it's about impact on each individual that we encounter or we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So my legacy will be different for everyone that I've been connected to. For my children, it will mean one thing, the legacy of mom building this business to pass on to continue to help individuals. My legacy for my grandchildren will pretty much be the same. My legacy for my friends will be she was kind and gracious. She was a willing giver and a gracious receiver. She was there when she said she would be there. She did what she said and she said what she meant. And so again, my legacy will be different for each person in my life. And my hope and prayer is that I will have impacted everyone that I've connected with, be it on the smallest level to the largest.
Advice you wish you had followed.
You know, my dad had a saying, he would say it all the time when we were growing up. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And so I wished I'd followed more of that when I was younger, because I probably would not have had to, and I don't want to say waste time, but be more involved with things that set my heart on fire, as opposed to, oh, let me go after this because it's going to make me this money or this, and because everybody else is doing that, but things that set my heart on fire.
What brings you joy?
Oh, simple things, really, really simple. My grandsons, listening to their stories, having them tell me that Gigi, I'm affectionately known as Gigi. Gigi, you are my love. Just, laying out in my hammock and watching them play, run around, being around my daughters as grown women, and the conversations that we now have as opposed to when they were little girls and teenagers, but having them not only as my daughters, but as a support system today. That brings me so much joy to watch the women they've grown into. So for me, it's very simplistic. It's about family and close connections for me.
What breaks your heart?
Children crying. I don't like to hear children crying. That breaks my heart. Maybe, I don't know, it could be related to when I was a child. I always want to comfort them. I always want to feel like, that it's okay, you're safe. That breaks my heart.
Dana, what is the biggest takeaway from our interview today? What do you want the audience to leave with?
That whatever you set your mind and heart to, you can have it. You really, really can. It all sounds so simplistic and easier said than done. But if you start just taking those steps, you can get there. This is how I would teach my girls growing up. If this is failure and this is success, and every day you're taking a step, how much closer are you to success if you keep taking those steps?
What is your zone of genius?
My zone of genius is when I'm meditating. And I hope that's answering the question, because that's when a lot of ideas come to me, when I'm still, when I allow myself to be open to whatever the creator, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is downloading to me, and specifically just for me, because I believe each one of us is specifically designed to connect on different levels with the creator. And so that is my, I believe you said zoning place.
Your zone of genius. Absolutely.
Yeah, zone of genius. Yes.
I know you have some things that's in the mix, and I don't want you to share that, but what's next for you?
What's next? Right now, we're concentrating on buying and holding. We're building so that we can continue to build that legacy for not only my children, but my grandchildren, because I'm going to be handing off the baton one day. And I certainly want them to have a strong foundation in which they can continue to build on. So that's what's next for us.
And in your building and your holding, are you actually doing any kind of repairs?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so in the area, and I'm just speaking specifically where I know where I live, in terms of labor costs and finding workers, how is that going for you?
It's going well. Again, it's about connections. It's about networking. Like I said earlier, we moved into Virginia just last month, and I have a team of people already working on a home that we just purchased. And so that will be going underway this month. And so you have to build your network. You can't be afraid to talk to people. You can't be afraid to talk to other investors. Hey, what GCs are you using? General contractors, or what electrician, plumber? You have to talk to people. And before long, you'll have a whole slew, a network of people that you can work with.
You talked about, Dana, how you started the business. You didn't have money to invest in your property.
Yes.
So in order to do the repairs, in order to hold, talk about that cycle and how long did it take for you to build to get to that level where you're not only investing, but now you're holding, and you could possibly even do more into the real estate space?
So I want to say maybe about 18 months, I had amassed a small fortune. And at that point, I probably could have been doing a lot of the buy and hold, fixing and flipping, but it's not where my heart was. I wanted to continue on that path, but I found another way to invest my money, because now I've made all this money. It's just sitting there. Now I do gap lending. I lend to other investors who are involved in transactions where there are fix and flips involved, and I'm filling in the gap, and I'm getting a return on my investment without having to do the heavy lifting.
Talk to the person in the audience that you're resonating with and they are interested in starting. Where do they start?
I want to say, find the platform that resonates for you. Find the resources that resonate for you, because there are a lot of them out there, and stick to it. Don't be drawn off by the shiny object syndrome, everything that comes out, I was bogged down with that when I first started, and I had to shut everyone out. I had to put on the blinders and be comfortable with what it is I chose, because I knew it could get me to where I wanted to be. I just needed to be focused. I have one of my coaches who talks about right think, and I think I touched on it a little earlier. Right think is finding the right vehicle. I know that the right vehicle for me is real estate, because it creates more wealth than any other vehicle. I know that the right resources for Eudiana Burrell is connected investors. And I know that I had to become the right me, which is consistent, committed, dedicated. And so if you're going to do this, those are some of the key things you're going to need along the way, because motivation will get you started, but it's consistency that will keep you going.
What is the best advice, the best decision you've made as a leader?
Jumping in, being unafraid, knowing that if it is possible for someone else, it's possible for me, and just continuing to take the next step in the direction of my own dream, not this one's dream, not that one's dream, and staying true and dedicated to myself, accountable to me.
I like that.
Thank you.
What do you need, Dana, right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
It's kind of I don't know, this really involves me. What I really need is to be able to buy my parents a home. Even though I've made all this money and getting them into a home has proven to be very difficult here in Charlotte. So I would love to be able to do that right now. And I believe that when the time comes, it will happen.
And I don't know about the area in Charlotte. I know, do they have a lot of casitas? Some people refer to it as like a guest house. So here in Las Vegas, they have a lot of homes. And then off the homes, and I don't want to use this word, and I don't know how it is in terms of areas. Some places might be like, I'll just stick to it this way. So they have like another home on the property.
They don't have a lot of that. However, that is something I thought of too. And I was going to, see if, through the county, if that was a possibility. Because, like I mentioned earlier, my parents moved here 4 years ago, and and they live right around the corner from me now. I don't see the sense of them moving an hour away after, moving 600 miles away. And so I want to have them close. And so that is something that I can look at. And so thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Dana, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Is there anything you would do differently, Dana? Absolutely not. I know that my life's journey has led me to the point I am today. Every challenge, every fall, every heartache, every victory, every failed plan, every accomplishment, has led me to this day. And I'm grateful, very, very grateful.
Thank you for that. We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the rapid round of fun?
I think so, Dr. Richards. Let's do it.
All right. Your favorite color?
Green.
Your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Your ideal car?
A Mitsubishi Outlander 2022.
Your favorite comfort food?
Ziti.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Nuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts. Oh, you name it. Yes.
Your first job?
Thrifties in Pasadena, California. I was scooping ice cream.
You relax doing what?
I relax by meditating.
The last movie you saw?
Oh, Avatar, Way of the Water.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Houdini, those were my favorite rappers back in the day. I love Busta Rhymes as well. My favorite singer of all time is Whitney Houston.
Your favorite dance song?
My favorite dance song, Let's Get Married.
Dana, work out or hit the couch?
Work out.
Dana Burrell, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you. And feel free to leave the social media handles that you remember, and we will also put them in the show notes.
Absolutely. Yes, Eudiana Burrell, you can find Facebook, Renew Me Properties. We can also put that. That is my business, my website. Dana Burrell might be one of my handles, but I will find out from my person what all the handles are and get that to you, Dr. Richards. And if you look me up on Google, Eudiana Burrell, trust me, you're going to find me.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dana. That is a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.